Absent. Alderman Hayes
Present.
and Mayor Taylor.
Present.
You have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you. Item C, can I have a first and a second to approve the minutes of the October 2nd, 2023 Code Revisions, Appeals, and Negotiations meeting?
First.
I second.
Alderman Donenworth, second was Alderman Bolton. Roll call, please. Or actually, can we do a voice on that? Yes. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I was an aye too, but I didn't have a mic on.
I heard that it passes.
Okay. Is there any audience time on this particular matter for the item under new business, which is about food trucks? Is there anybody who wants to speak on that tonight? Okay. Under new business, can I have a first and a second for the motion to approve amendments to Chapter 14, Section 14-484 of the Waukegan Code of Ordinance regarding mobile food trucks?
I so move.
Second.
Okay, who was the first?
It's Alderman Bolton.
Alderman Bolton, second was Alderman Hayes. And this one I will open up to discussion for any aldermen that want to discuss the food trucks. I would like Chief Navarro to come up because he talked to us today, and he would like the time changed again.
Hello, everyone. I just have a recommendation because this is so new, and I always worry about public safety and people hanging around the food trucks. I mean, the whole purpose of, I think, of people going downtown is to go to the different bars that are open during those early hours or late hours of the evening, early hours of the morning. And I'm just trying to hope to prevent people from hanging out in front of all these food trucks instead of actually going to the businesses downtown. I think it may give others an opportunity to hang out downtown that are under the age of 21 because of the food trucks is going to be their excuse to hang out in that area, and it'll make it more difficult for the police department with potential issues. I would recommend 10 o'clock as we do with private property, maybe to start with, and see how that moves forward. But I am concerned with the security aspect of having them there till 2 o'clock in the morning or even 1 o'clock in the morning.
And one of the things I'd also like to mention is when we talked this morning, because Chief Navarro was on vacation last week, so we had a meeting this morning. And one of the things that he pointed out was last summer we had a grant that allowed us to have extra officers down in the downtown area that we do not have this year. So I also want everybody to be aware of that and what it could stretch on coverage. So it's just something for you to think about. If you want to amend the ordinance, you may do that. Or this is a discussion. Any questions or discussion you want to have to the motion? And again, you don't have to be on the committee. I am opening it up to anybody who would like to discuss it.
I was wondering, had you considered 9 o'clock instead of 10? Don't most standard business close at 9? Just a question.
Yes, ma'am. I'm in agreement with you. 9 o'clock would be a problem with me.
I have a question.
Have you guys?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, have you guys got any feedback from the actual food vendors? Any potential food vendors? What their thoughts are?
Well, the food vendors want to stay open as late as they can, so that's going to be one of the things. So it's not really about them in the sense that they will want to stay open as long as possible.
No, when the conversations had about the safety aspect of it, what feedback you're getting?
The vendors haven't been consulted on that, nor would they really get consulted on public safety. That would be an issue that we decide, not them, to that degree. Does that make sense? That, like, we wouldn't really, we have to come up with our guidelines, not them tell us what their guidelines would be.
No, well, when the vendor's working downtown, because, I mean, right now, potentially, let's say, we're seeing a lot of like, let's say for example, carjackings, right, online and stuff like that. You see that there's carjackings going on. Like, do they ever ask like, hey, what's the safety risk being working downtown as a food vendor? That never comes up.
That
No?
never comes up.
Okay.
I've
Alderman
not been
Hayes.
asked, and my staff hasn't forwarded me anything like that.
Alderman Hayes?
Sure. 10 o'clock seems reasonable in light of the fact that most restaurants in the city probably close around that time anyway. So, but I'm just curious to know if you could kind of elaborate on the safety concerns for us a little bit more, just so we can understand the challenges that your officers are facing.
Some of the safety concerns I feel are, again, people are going to go downtown knowing that they now have a reason to hang out because they're going to say they're going to be in front of the food trucks. They're not going to be going into the establishments. They're probably going to be drinking out of their vehicles or drinking out of cups and saying that they're there to get food. And it's going to bring, I believe, younger audience downtown that's can cause more problems because they can't not get into the bars. So they're going to be hanging out there, and there's a potential for problems.
Just that congestion element, that
Yes.
people congregating and loitering. Okay.
Alderman Florian?
Thank you, Mayor. So I totally hear what you're saying, Chief. I was just downtown Saturday night. Our show got out at 9:30, 9:45 at Three Brothers. So I'm thinking of the Genesee and Three Brothers when you're getting done at that time. If people wanted to eat afterwards or pick up a snack or a dessert or I don't know, whatever, like that would kind of stop that from happening. And then I'm curious about the arrangement that's sort of been going on with Nightshade and Up and Smoke. I'm pretty sure he serves past 10, right? He does. So would that have to stop at 10 as well, even though he's kind of technically serving inside there, even though he cooks outside? I know that's kind of a unique situation.
Well, I believe, according to this ordinance, there's no guarantee that that's not reserved for him. But, I mean, you can set the time that you want. I just feel, what Chief Navarro is bringing up is important. If we wanted to set it at 10:30 or something like that, because often the Genesee and Three Brothers gets out about 9:30, 10 o'clock. But, I mean, this is up to you to decide as legislators what you would like it to be.
So I'm open to whatever the safety around what you're suggesting, especially in relationship to the youth. Curfew, I believe, is 10 o'clock for youth.
Depending on the age, yes.
I'm sorry,
On the
can-
weekend,
speak in the
yes.
mic, yes.
How about an hour before they close? Like usually the bars close. Have
Well,
you guys
right
thought of
now,
that?
we have it as 1 o'clock in there. But what the chief is saying is that initially it was put in as 2 because that was what was recommended. But that became an issue when the bars get out at 2 and then you've got people in the streets and we passed an ordinance, everybody has to be gone by 2:30. Food trucks are not going to be, whatever time we decide, that's the hard stop. It's not, okay, it's 10 o'clock, but if you close at 10:30, at 10 we expect the food trucks to be gone, or 2 o'clock. But if people are coming out of the bars at 2 and want food, the food trucks are going to stay. And then it becomes, do we issue citations? How do we get people out of there? So it really can't go till 2 if you want to have everybody cleared out. But what Chief is saying is even at 1 o'clock, he feels that that's a risk of having minors down there. That is not what we want. And the bars would still be going until 2 anyway. So his recommendation today was 10 o'clock, but you guys, we're just bringing it up for discussion. Alderman Florian?
So I totally hear what you're saying. I understand it's all about safety. But one of the frustrating things for me is a lot of times we pass ordinances and then we have no way of enforcing it. And so are we going to assign someone to be a a neighborhood police officer at night downtown that's gonna actually make sure if we say, okay, you have to stop at 10, is someone gonna make them stop at 10? I mean, if we just make this ordinance and then nobody's
Well, that's what he's
down
saying
there
is
to-
there can be people there, but at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, they have many calls other places. And that's where it gets iffy, that can they still be there at that time at night? And, you know, that's been a continual problem of having people down there at night. We obviously want people to come to our downtown area. That's the whole goal of you guys wanting food trucks. But now it's like, how do we manage that it's not a public safety issue as well? And that's where the time becomes crucial. And so this is for you guys to determine. Alderman Martinez?
Yeah, actually, more of a statement. Can we like set like a certain time frame, and then, you know, and then with the chance of maybe expanding those hours depending on how how the first week may go or second week, and kind of learn from that, and then maybe we can extend those hours in the future, you know, instead of just doing it, you know, taking a chance. You know, let's do it in a reasonable hour, see how that works, and then revisit it, and if we want to extend it, let's take it from there.
Well, I think you want to give it a good summer, whatever season to do that. You don't want to do it the same season. But, you know, you want to set a parameter this year to see, because we've not done those before. So the food trucks are new. Obviously, it's to get people to the downtown area. But whatever we do this year, we can't change it in the middle because it becomes too confusing for law enforcement to do. So it would have to be like next season that you would do it. Does that make sense?
Don't typically food trucks like even go after these bar closes? I mean, sometimes they want to be there to serve the people that are coming out of the bars or whatnot.
Yeah, but that's where it's going to get into real problems, where they're loitering. And if you've already said 2:30, you want everybody gone, if they're not getting out of the bars, which means they're getting out at 10 after, quarter after on the streets, and now they're getting food, now how are you going to enforce 2:30? And you're not going to say 2 o'clock, that's a hard stop, when people are coming towards their trucks. They're not going to want to leave at that point in time.
Because, well, in my opinion, right, like, we want to foster more economic activity downtown. I think 10 o'clock, I mean, it's not a bad time, honestly, you know. There's a lot of businesses that do close early. But, I mean, I think if we're not here to babysit, the parents need to be making sure their kids are not out there, you know, past curfew. You know, that's not our job to enforce. You know, if we're talking about in terms of economic growth, you know, I think 1 o'clock is not a bad deal. You know, it's before all the bars close and whatnot. And we're talking about downtown. This is my opinion, right? And we're here to discuss again. But I think 1 o'clock is not bad.
What I would recommend is maybe doing it slowly, where we start off at 10 and see how it goes. Because the thing that I'm afraid of is if you get loitering, and then it's in the heat of the summer, and the next thing is you've got shootings down there, it's coming back on us.
And if, I'm sorry, Mayor,
So
to interrupt.
I want to make sure that we're able to make the downtown successful, and that we're doing this responsibly and listening to, you know, our police chief on what his advice is. And then if we decide this went extremely well, then expand it at another time. Alderman Donworth, did you want to say something? Okay.
Yes, I did. Nightshade, how much actual people do you have coming in getting food like after 10 o'clock? I mean, but you're in a brick and mortar, you're just cooking outside, so you're not.
Depends on the night, like she said, the Genesee Theater or the Three Brothers Theater getting out.
Sir, can you come up?
Mike Hathaway, I own Nightshade and Darks, I rent from you guys, high landlords. It really depends on the night and the crowd. He'll serve food until 11 o'clock if people are coming in to buy it. He generally calls it off after that. But some of the concerns I hear people voicing, it's not really the environment. I'm down there every night, all night. I see what goes on. I think the 2 a.m. for food trucks would be a disaster. 1 a.m., not so bad. But I also want you to understand that food trucks don't just evaporate the moment the clock goes off. Some of them can't move for 45 minutes after they shut that window because they have fryers on, they have ovens on, things have to go down to a certain temperature. So you need to take that into effect when you tell them they can't serve after a certain time, not they have to drive away, because I saw the current amendment says they have to be gone by X time. That means everybody is going to be serving till a different time depending on how prepared they are to move. And then you might create an unsafe circumstance where some of them will drive 3 blocks away with hot oil and park and then dump it in the sewer because that's the way they made the most money. Just be aware food trucks don't evaporate the moment the deadline comes. Some of them can drive right away. Some of them have to wait 45 minutes before they can move. So it needs to be understood that they have to stop at a certain time, and then there can be a time when you want them gone.
Well, that's why the hard stop is they'd have to be out of there, and that's up to them to figure out how long they need to tear down. But some of these conversations came out of an email that you sent, that we looked at it seriously and not mixing different crowds and that kind of thing. So in talking with Chief Navarro, we thought maybe for this year, let them go till 10, or...
I would say 10:30 if you, again, if it's the service window, 10:30. I think if you tell them they have to be gone at a certain time, that's going to create, like you were worried some people won't want to leave if there's money coming. If you tell them they have to all shut their doors at a certain time and stop serving, they're going to want to get out as fast as they can after that because they're not making money. If you tell them they have to be gone at a certain time, the ones that take longer to get going are going to resent having to stop early, and then you're going to have somebody police them, make sure they're gone. You're creating a circumstance where you might not have enforcement, you might not have people following the law. If you tell everybody to stop selling at a certain time, and then there's an ordinance that says you can't be here after 2 o'clock, what they do between then is kind of irrelevant to all of the other things you're worried about. I really think it's a matter of remove the incentive for, like he's worried about, for underage drinkers to just hang around in front of them. The door closes. The other thing I did mention in the email, music. If you have competing food trucks down there running their own personal discos in front, exactly what he thinks is going to happen. There's going to be people hanging out there, dancing on the sidewalk or in the street or whatever. I think you need to make sure you include that they're not allowed to have their own personal entertainment systems in front of each of their trucks. Let the establishments down there provide the entertainment. That's going to encourage more establishments to operate responsibly on that angle.
I mean, I think they can probably have music in their own...
Well, right, but right now,
Yeah.
the food truck standard, especially if they're the only one on the block, put a great big sound system out. When Bella was out there last week, she had a thunderous generator, so she had her music turned up to cover the generator. There were people telling me they could hear it on Washington Street. I could hear it inside my establishment. If you have that going at 1 o'clock at night, you're going to have a crowd hanging out in front.
And that's something that we can handle through the noise ordinance, so that's kind of a separate issue. But, I mean, the music is, I mean, I don't want it, all these food trucks doing, that's why the noise ordinance is more of an issue on that. But the big thing is establishing the time. So we can say no service after a certain time, and that's fine.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation if you're asking my opinion. Say 10:30, they have to stop serving.
Okay.
Then if they have to let their fryers cool down, the door's closed, there's no incentive for anybody to hang out in there if the fryers cool down. The other way, you're just going to incentivize breaking the law because they're going to fight to be the last one standing at 10:30.
Okay. Okay. Alderman Hayes?
10:30 seems fair. I think we should give quite a bit of deference to the police chief and his recommendations. And the last thing any of us want are police resources being pulled from other areas of the city down to, control a crowd around the food trucks. That doesn't seem like the best use of police resources. So Alderman Martinez, I think you had a great kind of thought to just set a time now and see how it goes. Maybe you revisit it in a year, maybe we don't. But 10:30 seems reasonable.
Okay, so can I have an amendment to this motion?
Hey, Mayor, can I ask
Sure.
one thing, Mayor?
Yeah.
As it was stated earlier, those spaces that are designated downtown are first come, first serve. So the first individuals there will be able to sell from that under the provisions within the ordinance. all vehicles down there are mobile food vending trucks. So what you're saying is that any vehicle down there, including the businesses that were discussed, they must be off the street or shutting down at that time. If you're down there cooking food, selling food, you're off at whatever time you designate, because the only way a vehicle can be on the road is if it is that mobile vending unit down there. At 2:30, all other vehicles leave, but all mobile vendors or anyone who is licensed as a mobile vendor will be off at the time you guys designate, okay? Just
One
wanna
last
make
thing
sure
right
that
now
that's
is they're
clear.
changing it to 10:30, they cannot sell, but they can still be down there while they're cleaning up. So that,
I have a question.
that shouldn't take till midnight to do. That should be 11:30 they need to be out of there. 11:30. Yeah.
I have one, just reflective
Bolton?
listening for. Chief, is there a reason why you suggested 10 o'clock and not 10:30? Do we have more coverage? Can you elaborate?
No, the only reason I selected 10 o'clock is because that's the time that is allowed if you have a food truck on private property. I thought that's why I came up with 10 o'clock. Alderman Felix, you had talked about parents and being responsible for their juveniles, and they shouldn't be out. Unfortunately, most of our violent crime involves juveniles, and we do have a big issue with parental responsibility.
Okay, can I get a motion to amend this to, yes, by someone on the committee, though?
Sure. So the amendment is stop selling food at 10:30, right?
And then do you want to put everything has to be cleared out no later than 11:30? Is that what we're saying? Do
Sure.
we want to do that?
Yes.
I mean, based on the comments, thank you for your comments, by the way, like, that's really helpful. It seems like an hour is more than enough time if everybody agrees. I hadn't thought about fryers needing to cool down and things of that nature. So trucks have to be gone by 11:30, stop serving food by 10:30. Seems like a reasonable compromise.
Okay, does everybody understand that motion? And, okay.
So that's my first.
Okay, so that's your first. Can I get a second to that amendment?
I second.
Second is Alderman Bolton. So this is just the committee now approving this. Roll call, please.
All right, this is the vote on the motion to amend. So the motion, as I understand it, is stop selling food by 10:30
Correct.
and clear out the vehicles by 11:30. All right, this is the roll call. Alderman Bolton,
Aye.
Alderman Donenworth,
Aye.
Alderman Guzman.
Well, we didn't seat him yet.
Oh.
So we have to seat, yeah.
He's now present for the vote, so he's seated. Noted. Alderman Guzman.
And this is for item, what
It's
is,
the only item on the agenda.
Yeah.
oh, aye.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye, as amended.
I'm sorry. Yes, Mayor Taylor.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. The motion to amend passes. Now, is there a motion to adopt the ordinance as amended? And then to proceed forward to council because it's on council agenda tonight.
So I'll make a first to send the amended motion that just passed to the city council tonight.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second is Alderman Donenworth.
Okay, this is to adopt the motion as amended and to send it to council. Alderman Bolton.
Aye.
Before we vote on this, is that normal practice? Isn't it it gets held over? Because most motions are held over for next council meeting and then goes towards council. So how is this bypassing every other rule for it?
This was already placed on the city council agenda, I think because of the upcoming, I don't know, Chief Navarro, do you want to speak to that? The urgency is?
Because yeah, Chief Bridges would answer that better.
Chief Bridges, if he's available.
Yeah,
Chief Bridges?
yeah, we want them to be able to sell as soon as possible.
Chief Bridges, the question that Alderman Guzman had is why is this ordinance on committee and council in the same evening? What is the exigency or urgency for this?
Again, after speaking with many of you, trying to be business friendly, we have many that would like to get out there and start getting more to visit our downtown. So we were trying to get this taken through council as soon as possible. We do have the permitting process, and the building commissioner was attempting to redo the form. He will be able to readjust the form the way he needs to for our mobile vending, and that's the reason why we're trying to get it on the committee through council so that staff can work on the back end items, the back end work. Before the season starts, this is the time. We're going to have lots of events and things coming downtown, and we already have someone operating downtown, so we were trying to make sure that they could get compliant as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there was a motion by Alderman Hayes to adopt the ordinance as amended and send it forward to council. There was a second by Alderman Donenworth. Seeing discussion has ended, roll call is Alderman Bolton,
Aye.
Alderman Donenworth,
Aye.
Alderman Guzman,
Aye.
Alderman Hayes,
Aye.
Mayor Taylor.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Okay,
Second.
Who made that? Wait, who was the first and who? Bolton was the first. Second was
Hayes.
Alderman Hayes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Should I give everybody a couple minutes and we'll start committee of the whole? Okay.